And you see many of these companies from China, actually they belong to government. So China mastered that art. So when we're coming up with the safeguards, we said that we must find our national oil company resources such that it does not struggle when it comes to running business. We don't want these other companies to take advantage of it. So I think the concern and the worry here would be that the operations of this company, is the Auditor General's office going to be involved to scrutinize what they are doing? So if there is a tick, we know that there is a safeguard, because the reports from the Auditor Generals will finally come to Parliament in case of any abuse or misuse of the fund. So I think as Parliament, we still have the checks and balances on how this money will be utilized. So the fact that these resources are going to be approved and they have put in a provision of 15 days, to me, I think that calls for the efficiency on the part of Parliament, because as Parliament, we don't want to lose our appropriation powers. So I don't see really a big problem unless we are so suspicious to the point, because even if you choose, I have seen, you can choose to even have these laws, but you still go against them and move on. Things have happened. So when we begin getting worried about who is going to be appointed in which office and so on, that does not make sense. What is important is that these safeguards which we are proposing, we make sure that our role as Parliament to appropriate is well guarded. For me, I think that is something I needed us to understand, and then we should be able to create a system that should enable Parliament play their role. Finally, Madam Speaker, I was very disappointed with a motion that was moved by Nandala when in the last Parliament, where they blocked us. You know, I am on Kosase, and we could not go back to scrutinize the former Auditor General's reports because they had moved a motion here that the Parliament should not do so. I could not even believe how even such a people can really come up with a crazy idea of tying the hands of Parliament. So for me, we must have room for Parliament to be able to scrutinize all these companies that the government is coming up with, and we must also build our capacity, because this petroleum is something new, something huge, and we need to think through as Parliament how we will be handling this sector. So we cannot treat it like any other parastatal of government. I beg to move, Madam.
Thank you. One thing that we must appreciate is the appropriation role is not removed. It is still with us. The 15 days will now check our efficiency as Parliament. Not where you give a committee work for 45 days, they are not finishing, but now we have the 15 days to make sure that we process and decide on what should be done. It's not that we must approve. You can actually not approve what the UNOC has asked for. C, Chairman, Attorney General, can we go to C? Let's first reconcile. Dr. Pell, let's reconcile this first.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The last item would be the participation of BOU. The participation of BOU, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues.
There is isolation of URA?
Yes,
as a collector?
I'd spoken to that, but I can speak to it. Isolation of URA, Right Honorable Speaker, is provided for in Section 57(1) of the PFMA. Section 57(1) is not being amended. We are adding to 57, after 57.5, we are adding a 5A. And that's what I was explaining, that once UNOC has received the oil, the cost oil, and the money for the tariffs, everything else must be appropriated by Parliament. So once you have that exclusion, everything else goes to URA and is handled in the ordinary process.
Shadow 57.1, where it says the petroleum revenue due to the government shall be collected or received by URA, is not being amended.
Madam Speaker, we've had discussions in order to get a way forward. And in principle, we've agreed to, in order to allow UNOC to do business, if we exclude in the definition the revenue related to cost oil and the money for the tariff, then the rest, we do not need actually parliamentary approval for those two. Then the rest can be subjected to parliamentary approval. And then we move forward.
Can I hear from AG?
Most obliged. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much for.
So can I now put a question? Members, honorable members, I put a question that the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2021 be read for the second time. Those in favor say unto the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2021, Bills Committee stage. The Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2021, Clause 1.
Madam Chair, we are slightly amending it to say okay, the petroleum revenue means tax paid under the Income Tax Act on income derived from petroleum operations, government share of production, signature bonus, surface rentals, royalties, proceeds from the sale of government share of production, any dividends due to government, proceeds from the sale of government's commercial interest, and any other duties or fees payable to the government from contract revenues under petroleum agreement, but excludes proceeds retained to meet the obligations of the National Oil Company arising from petroleum agreements as approved by Parliament from time to time. And there was an omission there, which I add, and cost oil attributable to state participation. Justification: to exclude the proceeds retained to meet the National Oil Company obligations arising from petroleum agreements as approved by Parliament from time to time.
Madam Chairperson, I thought the exclusion was only restricted to the cost oil and money payable under the act we passed on tariff, basically that we don't now include in other retentions by parliamentary approval, and because that would be bringing more confusion. I thought that was the position. So don't capture the exclusion to reflect the cost oil and the tariff transportation.
I think the drafting may be, I think if you look at further down at 2, that's where you have that. Because if you look at the further in clause 2, the obligations of ECOP are there. So what we're doing here is to allow that to be retained. The retention is specifically stated here. This is just the definition. You need to read them together.
Chair, I think the shadow minister had conferred and had a discussion with you and agreed, Attorney General, that in the definition of exclusion, for avoidance of doubt, okay? For avoidance of doubt, this exclusion is restricted to the tariff and cost oil, straight away from the definition. Rest, if that compromise is not taken, because that what we had compromised on, our amendment was a deletion. So my humble view, Chair, is that if we are to agree to exclude, we exclude for avoidance of doubt, in particular as it relates to cost oil and meeting the tariff.
Can you frame your amendment the way you want it to be? Because the chairman has given you his definition, can I have your amendment?
What I was going to say, that would be helpful to look at what is it that they are amending and how they want it to look.
So we say petroleum revenue means tax paid under the Income Tax Act on income derived from petroleum operations, government share of production, signature bonus, surface rentals, royalties, proceeds from the sale of government share of production, any dividends due to government, proceeds from the sale of government's commercial interests, and any other duties or fees payable to the government from contract revenues under a petroleum agreement, but excludes cost oil and payments under the Tariff and Transportation Agreement under the East African Crude Pipeline Act 2021.
Can you please draft again? Just draft again. Just read that again, please. Read the drafting.
We retain the entire provision, but when we reach but excludes, say but excludes the cost oil and tariff payable under the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Act 2021.
Okay. May I propose, Shadow Attorney General, that we add, and cash calls approved by Parliament from time to time. And cash calls approved by Parliament from time to time.
That's okay.
Yes, thank you.
Clarification.
Would you have issues if we said cash calls are appropriated by Parliament from time to time?
No problem. No problem.
Attorney General, we need a further amendment from his side, further clarification. Go ahead. He said we are going to make an amendment.
Right Honorable Speaker and members, so we have pretty much agreed on the definition that is stated, but there is a come from another issue that was raised in this bill which we need to correct, and that is that the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Act has not yet been amended.
Yes.
So we are proposing that it states that meeting the obligations borne out of the National Oil Company on its own behalf and on behalf of government, as provided for in the host government agreement and the tariff and transportation agreements and the law in respect to the East African Crude Oil Project.
Honorable members, I am putting a question on the amendment of the Attorney General as read by him. Those in favor of the amendment say aye, and to the contrary, no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 1 as amended.
I put a question that clause 1 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Chair.
Madam Chair, we propose an amendment to clause 2 of the bill to substitute with the following. 2. Amendment of Clause 57, Principal Act. The Principal Act is amended in Section 57 by inserting immediately after subsection 5 the following. 5A. Notwithstanding any provision of this Act, the National Oil Company shall retain a portion of the proceeds from the sale of petroleum arising from the state participating interest in applicable petroleum agreements for purposes of 1. Meeting its financial obligations arising from applicable petroleum agreements and joint operating agreements in each calendar year based on the estimated budgets and 2. Meeting obligations borne by the National Oil Company on its own behalf and on behalf of the government as provided for in the host agreements, tariff and transportation agreements, and the law relating to the East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline Project. 5B. The National Oil Company shall present the budget estimates referred to in subsection 5A1 to Parliament, and upon approval by Parliament, the National Oil Company shall use the proceeds retained. 5C. The budget estimates presented under subsection 5B shall be processed by Parliament within 15 days from the date of submission, and where a decision is not made by Parliament within 15 days, the budget estimate shall be deemed approved. 5D. The National Oil Company shall deposit the balance of proceeds retained after expending the monies for the purposes of subsection 5A into the Petroleum Fund and shall submit a copy of the record of the monies deposited to the Minister, the Uganda Revenue Authority, the Secretary to the Treasury, the Accountant General, and the Auditor General. Justification. 1. To enable the National Oil Company retain a portion of the proceeds from the sale of petroleum arising from the state participating interest in applicable petroleum agreements for meeting financial obligations arising from applicable petroleum agreements and joint operating agreements in each calendar year based on the budget estimates. 2. To compel the National Oil Company present the budget estimate to Parliament for approval, and to mandate the National Oil Company use the proceeds retained. 3. To provide timelines within which Parliament is to approve the budget estimates. And 4. To mandate the National Oil Company to deposit the balance of the proceeds retained after expending monies for the purposes of subsection 5A into the Petroleum Fund.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the proposal.
I put a question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay.
Clause 2 as amended.
I put a question that clause 2 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Chair.
Madam Chair, on clause 3,
There is no clause 3, there is an insertion. You're amending, you're proposing a new clause.
we are proposing amendments, numerous. Some are just numbering, and on section 58 of the Principal Act. 1.
It should be the bill is amended by inserting a new clause immediately after 2, and you read the clause.
Okay, the bill is amended by inserting a new clause, clause 3, to read as follows. We are renumbering the current provision as subsequent. All right, okay. Clause 3, amendment of section 58 of the Principal Act. Section 58 of the Principal Act is amended by 1. Denumbering the current provision as subsection 1. 2. Inserting a new paragraph C immediately after paragraph B to read as follows. And this is now C. For approved investments of the National Oil Company. And 3. Inserting a new subsection immediately after the proposed paragraph C to read as follows. For the purposes of this section, approved investments means investments approved by the Board of Directors of the National Oil Company and the Cabinet. Justification. To allow for withdrawals of money from the Petroleum Fund for approved investments of the National Oil Company, and to define approved investments. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the proposal.
I put a question that a new clause be inserted immediately after clause 2 as proposed. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The title.
I put a question that the title do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House report thereto.
I put a question that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House do report thereto. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
The good thing you are. The good thing you are.
Report from the Committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the House has considered the bill entitled the Public Finance Amendment Bill 2021 and passed it with amendments.
Which amendments? On which clauses?
Madam Speaker, the amendments relate to clause 1, 2, and the insertion of a new clause immediately after clause 2, which is clause 3.
Okay.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Committee of the whole House be adopted.
The report. The report of the whole House be adopted.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the whole House be adopted.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of the whole House be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill third reading.
Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Public Finance Management Act 2021 be read for the third time and do pass.
I put a question that the bill titled the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2021 be read a third time and do pass. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act entitled the Public Finance Management Amendment Act 2021.
Title settled and the bill passed. Congratulations.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to first appreciate you for supporting us through this process, but I also wish to inform the House that my senior is here, Honorable Matia Kasaija. And on behalf of the ministry, he would like to say something in appreciating your role.
Honorable Speaker and colleagues, members of Parliament, I'm really very elected. I have been in this house, this is now from 1979. I had never seen Parliament talking on an issue like this with a common voice. I think the method of work that you have adopted to consult each other, instead of coming to beat each other here and then humiliate each other on the floor of Parliament, I think is a nice method of work, Madam Speaker, and I want to congratulate you. We are not legislating for ourselves. I was very happy when I heard I think Honorable Kivumbi or someone else, that we are legislating for generations. This resource we are talking about, some of us may not even see much about it, but our children and our grandchildren. So colleagues, I entrust you that in future, on matters of this, let's forget about politics. Let us look at the good of the country. I thank you very much. Let us proceed like that, and I can tell you we shall achieve more things, and the population is going to be very happy because they will know that we're working for them, and we came here to work with them. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. I want to thank the chairperson of the Committee of Finance. I also want to thank the Shadow Minister of Finance. I want to thank the Shadow Attorney General for his input, and equally I want to thank the Attorney General on this side for the good work they've done. And I want to thank the Chief Whip in a special way. He's very passionate for his work. He's doing a very good job. He has not rested. And the acting leader of government business today. Thank you so much. The Minister of Energy, we have done your work. We leave the rest to you. And thank you for the passion that you put into these bills. Attorney General, you're such a wonderful person. We've been able to pass the Income Tax Amendment number 2, 2021, and then the Public Finance Management Act, Bill 2021. And as we pass these bills, we leave it now to you, Executive. You must do the work for this country. We have the oil, we have given you the laws, so we want to see the proceeds of the oil. Honorable Musasizi, you are a very wonderful person. I want to thank you so much. Chairman, you want to say something? And the House, you're such wonderful people. Now you're counting the number of bills you're passing. Now you're working.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think first of all, it's my maiden bill as chair of the Finance Planning and Economic Development. So it's been a pleasure to see it through. But I'd like, first of all, to thank you very, very much for all the support you've given us in this process. I'd like to thank my colleagues, the members of the committee, who worked very hard around this. At points in time, it seemed like mission impossible, and against the pressures of time that we are having. But thank you very much, colleagues, members of the Committee, Finance and Economic Planning. I also like to thank very much the Chief Whip, been very, very supportive throughout the process. I cannot thank enough the Attorney General, who I found very much a man down to earth, At all times, he was available for me to consult him. Even when he was outside the country, he was still accessible and would come back with a very detailed explanation on issues that we are consulting. And thanks for everybody, thanks the House. I'm glad that has been passed unanimously, almost. I'm glad that we've found a practical way forward on this. But I'd like to mention that it's very unfortunate that as a committee, we did not have opportunity of benchmarking and getting a good feel of how others have been handling these issues, although it has been very much based on our literature review. So I think that's an element that we have to consider very much in the future. Finally, Madam Speaker, in coming up with the recommendations that we came up with, we had a lot of anxiety on whether things will work or they will not work. But what we borne in mind is that if it doesn't work, then we can always come back and talk about it again. Thank you very much, Right Honorable. Thanks indeed, Honorable Members.
Thank you. The User Department.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Uganda National Oil Company is not here in the House physically. Petroleum Authority of Uganda is not in plenary. But I know their ears have been on the ground, and I hope that they have taken note of the concerns of this august House. Accountability, transparency, and in making sure that the country gets what we are expecting to get out of our petroleum. So I am standing here as a shareholder, 51%, and as a minister in charge to pledge on behalf of the National Oil Company and the Petroleum Authority of Uganda total commitment to this country and to this august House in making sure that we transact the business for which this particular bill has been tabled, basically to enable Uganda National Oil Company transact their business. So I'm standing here to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, to thank the Minister of Finance who fronted the bill, to thank the Attorney General, to thank the Government Chief Whip who coordinated us, and most importantly, to thank those who are carrying out the oversight function. The leader of opposition and his entire team, right from the time when we processed the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Bill, because the three bills have been related. I'm very grateful that we are ending the year with this Christmas package to the developers and the shareholders, which they have been waiting for. I pray that the bills now leave Parliament to State House so that that ritual is also concluded, and then we see how we begin on the contracting procedure on Tier 1. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister of Government. Chief Whip wants to say something.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I wanted to express thanks from our office to just only and only one person, that is you. Because, Right Honorable Speaker, the way you guided us, the way we worked overnight, all this commitment behind the scenes with all these colleagues, all this was because we knew you were behind us as a team to come out with an uncompromising position that benefits the country, not our party interests. So I just wanted it to go on record that my office is really, really appreciative of how you coordinated us. And if we continue working like these colleagues, I'm very sure we are going to be a parliament that will surpass all other parliaments. Yes. Even the sky won't be the limit for us. if we continue working this way. Thank you. Right,
Thank you, Government Chief Whip. Leader of Government Business, then we go to the next item.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the NRM government, I want to take this opportunity in a special way to thank you for the leadership you have manifested, especially for such bills where I would always take time, have break, and also go in the lobby to go and discuss. I've liked your style, most especially to bring out only the controversial issue or issues which we have not yet agreed on as teams, and you also give us the opportunity to discuss and agree and save on time and resources of taxpayers in this country. I want to say thank you. I want to thank the Shadow Attorney General, the Shadow Minister for Finance, plus the leadership of the alternative team in Parliament. I want in a special way to thank the Minister of Finance and the technical team, Attorney General and the technical team, Minister of Energy and the technical team, Government Chief Whip and the technical team, plus the entire structure of the Government Chief Whip in Parliament. In a special way, thank you so much, members who have come to attend, but also most importantly, to make sure we save on time and manage business in this country. I'm here on behalf of government to say thank you all. We are proud of you, Parliament, as NRM government, and ready to continue working and improving every day. Thank you.
Thank you. I was about to say Secretary General because she talks about NRM all the time. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, Leader of Government Business. I want to thank the whole House and say I'm grateful. We are grateful as Parliament for your commitment. We therefore adjourn the House to tomorrow 2 p.m.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Everyone deserves more this festive season, which is why MTN Momo is giving you more Senku points on your MTN Momo withdrawals at agent locations. Get 150 Senku points for every 1,000 shillings spent in withdrawal fees. More Senku points means you get more free minutes, more free MBs, more free SMSs, and more free Momo Pay shopping. To use your Senku points, dial *141#.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome to Elmo's World News. Reporter Elmo is here with some breaking news. All around the world, Elmo's friends are going on adventures without leaving home. How, you ask? By using their imaginations. Elmo's friend is going to explore the forest. She doesn't have binoculars, but she does have her imagination. Look, she made binoculars using what she had at home. Come on, let's explore with her. Wow, look at those trees. Oh, and watch out for that bear. Roar! You can play anything with your imagination. Elmo's friends are brother and sister. Today, they made a video camera and a microphone, and they're pretending to be news reporters. Hey, Elmo's got a job for you. You can be anything with your imagination. Elmo's friend is pretending he's sailing on a boat. Ahoy, friend! Don't forget the life